Welcome once again to another edition of the Coach's Corner program. I'm Jeff Ruth, along with Harding girls basketball coach Corey White. Unfortunately, boys basketball coach Jamie Pearson couldn't make it this afternoon. Corey, a little bit later, we're going to look at some of the highlights from the two games last week. But your girls are playing maybe their best basketball this season. At the end of the season, you won, I think, 4, maybe 5 in a row now.
Yeah, I think when we first sat down this year, we talked about what we're going to look like as a team, and we talked about how young we were. We have 2 starters returning from last year, 3 players returning from last year as a whole. So we built the program up. We had freshman games, we had JV games, we had varsity games, and we talked about at the beginning of the year that we're hopefully going to be a different team the second half of the season. And it started to come full circle, and the girls are playing extremely well now. Hopefully we can get a sectional championship game win this coming Friday too.
And we'll talk about that game against DeSales coming up a little bit later on in the program. When we come back, we'll take a look at the highlights from the 2 games last week against Pleasant and Ontario. We'll do that right after these words. Back once again on the Coach's Corner program, and Corey, we're going to talk a little bit about girls basketball. You girls are on a run right now.
Yeah, I think we ended the season on a 4 or 5 game winning streak. So we were in a rut for a while towards the second half of the season, and we finished extremely strong. We started to come full circle.
Last Thursday night, game over at Pleasant, and good crowd, a lot of energy. Thought the girls played really well in that ball game, and certainly one of the keys, you defended really well against their top player in Kyla Collimer.
Yeah, we Anaya Mitchell's been a defensive power for us all year to guard point guards. She gives a ton of energy on the defensive end and loves to play defense. So I think having her on Collimer really threw Collimer's game off. I don't know her statistics specifically, but I think she was 0 for a lot from
yeah,
three-point line.
I think she ended up with 15 or 16, but she shot the
yeah,
ball
yeah,
a lot.
Yeah. She ended up with her points. She's going to. She's a great player, and they're a really well coached team. So, but we had 4 girls in double figures, first time this season. So we just played extremely well team ball, and all the girls showed up, and we weathered some runs that Pleasant had. We knew they would go on some runs, and we weathered it and answered the right way, and we came out victorious there.
Yeah, and I had seen your first game when you played them here, so it was nice to get a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, I think the fourth quarter we scored almost 20, 21, 22 points, and maybe I can't remember. It might have been in the upper teens, but we scored 27 points in the whole game against them the first time. So we knew we had to put the ball in the hole this time and attack the rim, and we played extremely aggressive. Paige came out of nowhere, and I think she went 3 for 4 from the
12, I think.
12, yeah, and 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. One was she almost made 4, I think, but one was counted as a 2 because her foot was on the line. So the girls just played extremely well and showed up, and that's what we've been waiting for all year.
And then Saturday afternoon, I know a win's a win, but wasn't quite the same effort.
Yeah,
you got the win, but it was one of those where almost at times you kind of went through the motions.
Yeah, and maybe it's something that I can work on too as a coach, especially for next year. Pleasant, you don't have to get the girls ready to play them a whole lot. They're going to show up, and they're going to play extremely hard. Ontario's had an extremely rough season. They lost to Galleon this year. They're really well coached and have a great team, but they lost one of their leading scorers at the beginning of the year to an injury. So our girls, we showed up flat.
And you know what that's like.
Yes, yeah, with Taylor Ida, yeah. We showed up flat, and we showed up with not a lot of energy. We were talking about before the show about rebounds. We out-rebounded Pleasant 48 to 27 or something like that, and Ontario out-rebounded us about the same way. but we were able to still come out with a win. But yeah, it was a lot different atmosphere Thursday than it was Saturday.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from those two games last week. The Thursday night game on the road over at Pleasant.
So Pleasant, we knew Columber was extremely great player. So she was obviously a focal point for us defensively. So we knew we had to get it up and get the tempo up and get our defense up. We wanted to take the ball out of her hands and really play the passing lanes to create a lot of turnovers and opportunities for us to get the ball at the court.
One of the key, I think you were up 7-0 or 9-0 before they scored their first point. So that was a key too.
Yeah, we had to get after it. Here you just saw Gracie shoot a three. There was Paige shooting a three. We were just shooting the ball extremely well. They weren't shooting very well at all. And we played hard and we got after it the whole night. Not that they weren't just shooting the ball well. We contested almost every single shot they took too. They didn't get very many open looks, and that's a good thing to say about our girls is we just played extremely well defensively. Here you see a steal. Kiani could have taken it, but she gave it up to Anaya. Anaya had a better angle at the hole, so Kiani let her have it, and she got to the rim and got fouled.
And that was a big three right there because they had pulled it within three at the time.
Yes. And then I think there's Kiani with the steal, and she gives it up ahead. I think Paige hits another one right here, and she throws her hands up in the air. You could tell she was feeling it right there. But that's exciting. That's a lot of energy that we needed for this game. A great block by Kiani there. She's averaging about 2 blocks a game, which goes very underrated. But you could pause that and look at the stats there, or the rebounds there. I mean, that was huge. And then
45-28.
45-28. And then at the end of these clips here for Ontario, you'll see it was almost lopsided. They flipped the other way. Justice shot extremely well from the three-point line. I know she doesn't think she had a great game because she didn't score as many as she wanted, but I believe she shot 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Gracie there banked one in. We talked about her last week on the show. She kind of banked that three, and then as she was jogging up the court, kind of looked at me and was like, it went in. So we still give her the green light, let her keep shooting. There's another big block by Kiani. When we come up with a steal. Those are the best too, when we can get a block and a steal on that, so we can get transition points. And that's one thing we knew. We were more athletic than Ontario, so we needed to get up and down the court. Obviously, we were flat, like we talked about earlier in the show.
Yeah, there were a couple times where if you had gotten a bucket or a couple of buckets in a row, I think you could have had a lot of separation, but you were just never. Really, until late in the fourth quarter, you weren't really able to get that separation.
No, we were never able to pull away. They have a really good coach. Mitch has been their head coach for years now, and the girls respect him and listen well to him. So it's always going to be a game, even if you know you're the better team and you're more skilled. They're still going to compete, and we still have to do all the little things right. There's Paige again hitting another big three for us, and
47-38 there as far as the rebound total.
Yeah, so that's one thing we talked about the very first game we played Ontario. We were down at halftime, and we came back, and I think we won by 26, I think. But the rebounds in the first half to the second half were completely one-sided. So we showed up the second half and scored rebounds. And it's just a stat we've looked at a lot this year. If we're given energy and getting rebounds, we're going to play a lot better than we would when we're not. So.
Okay. We'll be back with more on the Coach's Corner program right after these words. Back once again to close this portion of the Coach's Corner program. A reminder, the boys tomorrow night in action on Friday as they play host to Pleasant. Corey, we talked about Pleasant in Ontario. Tournament draw, I know you had a chance to do some scouting on Tuesday night, and you end up with DeSales. Talk a little bit about, first of all, talk about the DeSales Grove City game on Tuesday night, and then talk a little bit about the challenges that DeSales brings you.
So we took a couple coaches and I went down to the Grove City game against DeSales. Some of the girls came with us to help scout, and they played extremely well. It was a very defensive game.
I know it was a low-scoring game.
I believe the score was 19-27. Both teams played extremely well defense. DeSales plays predominantly a 2-3 zone. They're long, they're athletic, they get after it. They want to make you hold the ball offensively and give you one look, and then they're going to go get the rebound. So it's something we practiced a lot this week, yesterday in practice, and we kind of practiced both of the teams on Monday. So we were able to narrow it down after Tuesday night's game, and we got after it yesterday in practice, went over a lot of our 2-3 offense stuff, what we want to do defensively, matching up with them. I think we match up extremely well with them. As long as we're able to take care of the ball and score more than them, we should come up victorious.
Depends on which team shows up, right?
That's right. Is it going to be the Ontario game or the Ontario girls or Pleasant girls? Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, good luck on Friday night against DeSales, and hopefully we'll have a win to talk about next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Going to wrap it up for this edition of the Coach's Corner program. For Harding Girls Basketball coach Corey White, I'm Jeff Ruth.